So thank you all for being here. I'm going to kick things off with a couple things. First of all, a moment for us to reflect on the very recent loss of Pam Lawn, our colleague in the psychology department. We all knew and loved her. There will be information forthcoming on a celebration of life that we will hold here on campus in early February. So please keep the Department of Psychology and all of her colleagues and family in your thoughts and prayers. So I'd like to kick things off today with a very special message from a very special person. We're going to start out with some remarks from President Peter Hans, the president of the UNC system. He had hoped to be here today, but his schedule is a very, very exciting thing to behold. But we'd like to start off with some remarks that he recorded just for us. John?
Welcome back, Bulldogs. I want to say loud and clear, the people all across the state are with you today. Heartbroken at what you've been through, amazed at how you've responded, and overjoyed to see this university open. Generations from now, when they tell the story of Helene, they'll talk about the devastation, but they'll also marvel at the strength of this region and the love that people all over North Carolina have for the mountains. Even before the rain stopped, our advocacy began and we received offers of help for UNC Asheville. People from every part of the UNC system, from every corner of the state, dropped what they were doing to be part of this recovery. And it took very little time for our state's leaders to fund our requests, not just for the cleanup and the repair of campus, but to cover tuition this semester and provide additional financial aid. Now, I feel this issue quite personally. I grew up in Hendersonville. I know the River Arts District and Swannanoa and Chimney Rock and Marshall and so many other places affected. My heart hurts for the loss of life and the damage done. But my spirits were lifted when I visited campus a few weeks afterward and had lunch with Officer Craig and the team. I was inspired, deeply inspired by the resiliency and the faith. Because moments of trial are also moments of clarity. And I hope it's clear to everyone who's a part of this community that you're blessed with the love and the support of your fellow citizens. You have a home here, a place to return, a collection of people who care about you and will be there for you in times of heartache and celebration and everything in between. I'm proud of you. I'm grateful for you. God bless. Go Bulldogs.
So it's been quite a year. So it's been quite really 2 years. And we have much to celebrate on this campus. And we have much to grieve. And we have much work to do. During one of my first faculty and staff meetings, just after becoming the interim chancellor in January of 2023, I spoke about the headwinds that we were facing as an institution, coming from both external and internal forces. The decline in the number of college-going students, the number of college-going students who were not going right to college, the new regulatory restrictions that we were facing, all the rising costs that we were facing. And I talked about the strategy of adjusting the sails, as we really do have no control over the wind, we've learned that, but only over our own navigation, tacking back and forth to continue to make progress. And we were doing that. We were making incredibly effective changes. And we were making steady progress, even as new challenges arose. And then we were blindsided by a storm that threw us off course violently and unexpectedly. Helene was one of the most catastrophic disasters our region and university have ever faced. And for so many, one emotion, once the winds had died down, was despair that all the progress we had made in the past 2 years might have been blown away. The winds died, but the waters kept rising, and the hopes and dreams of so many threatened to be swept away as all. The losses so many people endured stood beside a new and traumatic sense of vulnerability and fragility. I have never been so shaken or thrown, personally or professionally, as I was by Helene. And like so many, We'll never be at ease again when the wind picks up or the rain comes in sheets. But we endured, and we did more than that. We rose to the occasion. In the midst of the chaos, you cleared the roads, pushed the trees, risked your life to save others, fed the students and first responders, found ways to communicate with the outside, hauled water, flushed toilets, stepped out of your homes to help your neighbors, led volunteer efforts across the region. You drew paper maps so that students could find their way to I-26. You drove them to Kmart so they could find a cell signal and call their frantic families. You found places where student athletes could continue to train together. You located each and every student and employee. You flipped your classes online so students could continue to learn. You found ways to bring labs, studios, musical ensembles, and key experiences to students where they were, and more and more and more. You should be so proud of everything everyone here has done. That was our heroic initial response to right the ship, and then to get it moving again, and it is moving. Students are back at a higher percentage rate than normal semesters. Campus is fully open, and we're on track to welcome a healthy new class next fall. We're in the recovery period, and while there is still much to be done, including mountains of FEMA paperwork, thank you, Matt Petty, we must, like the entire region, be focused on how to build back in a way that makes us better to withstand the future storms that will come, whether natural disasters or other headwinds that continue to threaten our progress. We must face those challenges, and we must learn from them. I'm going to spend a few minutes actually, talking about some of those other challenges we have faced, the at times excruciatingly hard decisions and work needed to confront them, and the difficult things we have learned about the reasons behind them and about the obstacles still ahead. Enrollment. In January 23, we were faced with the probability of yet another decline in enrollment for the following year. Admissions decisions and financial aid packages had not gone out. Students were opting for other opportunities, and we were losing precious time in recruiting the students that we wanted to admit. And so we pivoted, almost overnight and under new leadership, to a completely different approach, one that was nimble, student-friendly, and focused on the strategic recruitment of those admitted students. We stemmed the decline, and this past year reversed it with the third largest class in our history, not just by recruiting harder, but also by meeting the students where they are, getting them information about aid, and relentlessly communicating with them. And I can't say enough about everyone's efforts, faculty and staff who reached out to those admitted students. But it's not just about the new students. Our best practice student success initiatives really ramped up, and new approaches and attitudes towards teaching and building a strong sense of belonging paid off. We saw a very impressive increase in student retention. Marcio Moreno is going to brief us in a few minutes on some new initiatives and some new ways of approaching recruitment and admissions that you can help with. But we have far to go. What we have learned is that we can fine-tune recruitment, admissions, and marketing processes. We can work relentlessly to improve student success. We can increase financial aid, build a more attractive campus, print glossy brochures. But we're going to have to go further. The budget. The higher ed business model in general is a disaster. It always has been, and it's only going to get worse. It costs far more to educate a student than students and families are willing or able to pay. Variable cost escalations like inflation, increased responsibility, compliance responsibilities, and utility costs are only going to increase. So we rely on subsidies, endowments for private institutions. This is across higher ed. We are not alone here. And in our case, state appropriations. It varies, but overall, up to 50% of our budget comes from the state. And of our operating budget that pays our salaries, 72% of that budget comes from the state. Only 16% comes from tuition. This is the model that we're working within. So our biggest and most reliable benefactor by far is state appropriations. And by proving we can be good, and by having proven that we can be good stewards over the past 2 years, we've brought in over $15 million in additional appropriations for capital project funding, repairs and renovations, enrollment decline mitigation, and most recently, $5.5 million for disaster relief. But these are one-time funds. We've talked a lot about that. We can't live on one-time funds alone. Our bigger problem is getting to that sustainable financial model that works for us. I'm not skipping to page 4. And there again, we have made incredible progress. Less than 1 year ago, I stood before you and outlined our discovery of a $6 million budget deficit. The result of years of using one-time funds, as we've been doing, to plug the shortfall from an almost 25% enrollment decline. The failure to develop clear and transparent budgets, to leverage endowment funds and other assets, and the absence of a strong and strategic allocation process were drivers in all of this. We made a lot of hard decisions. A freeze on hiring, traveling, and non-essential spending. Remember, turn off the 2. Mary Hall, where are you? There she is. Selected reductions in force, participation in the faculty realignment program, academic and other program eliminations, administrative restructuring, and a lot of other really difficult things. We got help. The Board of Governors and the legislature held us harmless from cuts in our appropriations during the enrollment decline. All of these actions had both immediate and longer-term impacts, and we balanced the budget last year. But we're not out of the woods yet. We balanced last year, but we headed into this year with an even larger deficit, which again is odd because we have more students, but that all hits us 18 months after they are here. Actions taken last year, coupled with an increase in tuition receipts due to our large incoming class last fall, continued scrutiny of travel and hiring, have put us on track to balance again for this year. I think we're gonna make it. Yes, we're glad. But the next fiscal year is just around the corner. And this time we project a balanced budget going in, but its implementation depends on having an actual and real budget, a concept, and on maintaining our enrollment. And James Robinson's gonna talk, our budget director, is gonna talk a little bit about the process, the new process we're shortly gonna be using to build a clear and strategic budget for next year. And then academics. Keeping our enrollment strong also depends on ensuring that our students are successful and remain with us. We have seen very strong outcomes from the many student success initiatives that we've implemented. We're also working to make the curriculum more flexible and finding new ways to create new paths for students. New degree programs are poised to be approved. And our provost, Yvonne Villanueva Russell, will outline some of those initiatives in academic affairs in a few minutes. But first, let's step back to strategic enrollment for a moment and hear about what's going on in admissions. Marcio?
Good afternoon. ABC Moreno. Always a pleasure to have the opportunity to be here in front of you, sharing information about enrollment, admissions, and financial aid. I'm always telling my offices, I am really proud in every university that I have worked at. Usually when people hear about enrollment, they are very happy to work with my offices because we are one of the people that we try to say yes all the time. If we cannot say yes, at least we're gonna try to meet you halfway. We like to hear what we're doing right and what we are doing wrong, and always thinking about how we can improve. So please keep those calls, those emails. If you see something that is working, something that is not working, keep sending those, and we will always be thinking about how to improve and how to get better at that. So thank you for that. I remember when I first came, I was here in front of you and I mentioned that in order to increase enrollment, in order to stabilize enrollment, we need 4 main ingredients. We need to increase applications, We need to increase the amount of offers that we make. We need to find a way to increase the yield, and we need to find a way to decrease the melt. Remember, the yield is how many students are going to admit to accept the decision that we send home. And the melt is how many students are going to stay with us from the moment they said yes until the first day they are here in the class. Last year, we were able to complete 3 of those goals. That's very, very difficult to do. And when you are able to align those goals, this is where magic happens. And last year, really, magic happened for us. We went from 630 first-year students in 2023 to 725 last year. Almost 100 more first-year students in one single year. Guys, that is very, very difficult to do. I remember, thank you. I remember I got calls and emails from almost every single sister university. I got emails from enrollment managers from other states asking, what are you doing? What is the secret? And I didn't say anything because we are not sharing. I'm just kidding. The problem with that is that because we had such an amazing year, we had such a record year, we are facing a problem because trying to replicate a breaking year, it's very, very difficult. And some of you might be thinking, it shouldn't be that difficult, just do everything that you did. The problem is that in enrollment, in admissions, when you replicate everything from one year to the next, you don't get the same results. Why? Because we compete with other universities and everybody's looking at what's working here, what's working there, and other universities are gonna try to imitate and try to do the same. And something that works for you this year might not be working for you next year. So every time we go into a new season, we, of course, we choose what worked, what didn't. We make a list of everything that we're gonna do, but we also come up with a list of new projects and new initiatives. And I have learned that 1 idea is good, 2 is better, 3 is even better. So I usually come up with a new list of at least 4 or 5 new ideas. So think about those ideas as an insurance policy, okay? You are gonna try to do everything that you know works, but you have already a couple of things under your pocket. Let's go back to the end of September when Helene hit. As soon as we got the news that we were gonna be in a very difficult season, we immediately stopped all communication plan. Imagine all the emails that we have pre-planned to go out, all the texting that is going out, all those emails and texts have an invitation for students and families to come to campus, to come visit us, come to Asheville. So we had to immediately stop everything there. We stopped and canceled all travel plans for the next couple of weeks. At the beginning, we were not sure. We thought maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks. We were naive. We canceled 1 of the 2 open houses because we were 100% sure that the second one was gonna take place. And we immediately start talking to each other to see what we're gonna do, how we're gonna get out of this. It was extremely painful to watch applications coming in. We keep a calendar where we can see and we compare year to year. There were days where we were expecting to receive hundreds of applications, and applications were coming in single digits. Stress was really high. Have you seen my weight loss? Have you noticed my weight loss? For every 100 applications that we didn't get, I was losing 5 pounds. Just kidding. My weight loss is intentional. By mid-October, we were down 35% applications year to year. 35%, it's more than 2,000 applications. I have lost 65 pounds, by the way. Then we started to reactivate enrollment initiatives, and we had very difficult conversations. I remember talking to the director and exploring the possibility of talking to counselors to see who was in a good emotional state to start planning when are we going to go back to do recruitment. And I'm happy to report that it was not a difficult conversation because some of the counselors were reaching out to us to tell us, we want to start going out again. Just 10 days after the storms, where most of them were in other cities, just like you were. We had counselors in Cary, in Winston, in Charlotte, in Raleigh. Some of the counselors actually reached out to us and they told us, if we are able to get materials out of Asheville, we can actually start doing this. This picture right here behind me was taken in October 8th in Leesville Road High School in Raleigh. That is the first trip that we did just 10 days after the storm. And imagine the surprise for us. We went there. They were very surprised because we were there. They weren't expecting UNC Asheville on the road so quickly. And they were actually having a collection for food and supplies for Western North Carolina. So imagine the surprise, both sides. Can I ask my counselors to stand up, please? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for what you do and what you did and all the energy that you brought forward to get us back immediately back on the road. So we kept reactivating all the communication plan, all the travel, all the trips, and slowly but surely we have seen improvement. And every time we are running those reports, we see that we are getting better and better. Remember, I mentioned we were down 35%. Okay, as of this week, we are down. We're still down. I'm always honest. I don't lie. We are not down by 30. We are not down by 20. We are not down by 10%. We are down by 7% on applications. That translates to approximately 450 applications. So UNC Asheville is back in the game. We can do magic with these applications that we are receiving. Thank you for all of you who participated in the open house that we had back in November. It was very late, but it was our only opportunity to showcase the university because the single most common questions that we were getting back in October, November is, how does the university look like? Okay, people didn't know. People just had that image that they last saw on TikTok, they last saw on video. So it was very important for us to bring people to campus to showcase how we have fixed everything and how we look right now. Remember the idea of not repeating the same? My next slide is an example of that. Access Asheville. Access Asheville did wonders for us last year. So this year, after a lot of talking, not only to the chancellor, but to the system, we were able to get approved what we call internally Access Asheville 2.0. So what is that basically? We were able to increase. Last year, we were able to help families at 80,000 or less adjusted gross income. This year, we were able to up that to 90,000 or less. And we were able to include four out of states. And most important for me, why do we do it? How can we do it? Because we want to keep moving forward on our vision of access and affordability. And because doing this, it doesn't cost $1 extra from what we asked for last year. When we presented this idea to the chancellor, she asked how much money. And we had to say, Chancellor, I think that we can do it with the same budget from last year. How can we do that? By allocating the money in a different way. Okay, remember we have all those years of data, of information. Based on that, we are able to come up with a different way of putting our money in different places, and that's how we can do something like this. So here in front of you, I can guarantee, remember the insurance policy that I told you that every year we come with new ideas? I'm gonna talk about 3 of those new ideas that we came up with. One was an easy and short application in conjunction with DPI, with Department of Public Instruction. We decided to participate in that program because, again, we think that that aligns with who we are. It's a program that is trying to reach out students who traditionally do not apply to college. More than 70,000 seniors in North Carolina received information, okay? And the information is simple. It simply says, based on our records, you qualify. You have the minimum requirements to be admitted into one of these universities, okay? We think that most of the students are not applying because they just keep hearing, this is difficult. This is a long process. I don't know if I'm gonna be admitted. So just by telling them, you already qualify, we think that we are gonna get some of that program. A second program is something small that we are testing in out-of-state students, a direct admission for few out-of-state students that meet certain criteria. And the third one is a redirection pool. Remember, we have universities that are getting 30, 40, 50,000 applications. So what happened to those students? Not everybody's been accepted into those universities. So again, here in front of you, I can tell you and reassure you, Chancellor, we are down 7% right now, but in the next 4 weeks, okay, we are gonna receiving a couple of thousand applications based on these new programs. So by the end of the season, we will be in the greens. We are not gonna be in red, so we will have more applications than last year, which will give us the opportunity to make more offers, or the offers that we need to make. That doesn't guarantee enrollment. That's correct, but the rest is on us. We have 5 more months where we can actually tell our story, tell those new students who we are, and tell the students that they might be a good match for what we have here to offer. So I'm gonna keep asking you to please join in on all our offer, or all our programs. And these are the list of programs that are coming in for the next couple of months. For example, 2 admitted students, and 1, I'm gonna ask you right now, I'm gonna ask a lot of different things because 1 is gonna be different because I don't have Kimmel for the first one. So we have to do things very, very different. So there are different ways where you can participate. You will hear from us, you will hear from invitations. Some might be crazy ideas. You don't have to agree with them, you don't have to do them, but we are an office that is always trying new things. So we will keep them those ideas. So again, I think that we are on the right track. We have a lot of work to do in the future, and with your help, I think that we can do it. Thank you very much. Go Bulldogs.
Thanks, Marcio, for that. I think the way Marcio and his staff go about their work is an inspiration to the budget office. It's very appreciative of what you do. Thank you, Chancellor, for giving me the opportunity to speak to the work happening in the University Budget Office. My name is James Robinson. I'm the University Budget Director. I'm still relatively new. I came to the university in October of 2023. If I haven't had an opportunity to meet you or work with you, I hope to do so soon. So I'm going to review some of the recent budget process reforms that end users of the budget are likely to notice if you haven't already. These reforms are designed to do a number of things, but most importantly, they are designed to ensure we budget proactively rather than reactively, and that we are using the university's resources to advance the strategic goals of the university. Okay. Alignment of the university's budget with the state budget process. This is less a reform, I know, but it ensures that we're getting the fundamentals right. This is the basic blocking and tackling of what the budget office does. We've made changes to the way we load and adjust budgets that ensures we're more closely aligned with the state budget process. What does this do for us? First, it helps keep us out of trouble, right? By ensuring that we're complying with applicable laws and policies in North Carolina, we make sure that we don't get phone calls from OSBM. This also helps ensure that our budget remains in balance, which is a requirement of the State Budget Act. And then finally, it ensures that we're able to load budgets in Banner on July 1, regardless of where the General Assembly is in its process. We actually have an automatic continuing resolution in North Carolina, which is why you don't hear about the North Carolina state government shutting down the way you hear about the federal government shutting down. So if we're following state budget processes, there is no reason that we can't load our current spending authority on July 1 as we did this year. So the Budget Office is also delegating some authority to departments to make certain kinds of budget adjustments without Budget Office review. This is an effort to reduce the administrative burden of budget management by reducing the number of budget entries that requires Budget Office review. So what have we delegated? We've delegated the authority to adjust budgets for non-personnel and temporary wage accounts as long as those adjustments net to zero. That is, as long as you're not increasing your overall budget. We've established rules in Banner in close coordination with the Controller's Office. Lydia Gossett, I don't know if you're here, but Lydia did a tremendous amount of work to implement this. And these rules in Banner will allow for these adjustments while not allowing for other adjustments that require Budget Office review. We hope this is a time saver for everyone. And then finally, we have initiated a university budget development process. This, I think, is a big deal. Budget development will take place every fiscal year beginning in November. This will be the process by which the university departments request budget increases for the next fiscal year. Budget requests must be aligned with one of the university's strategic priorities, and those for this year are on the slide. This process is chaired by the Chancellor, and it's integrated with the all funds budget process, which we do with the system office. The goal here is to provide a transparent process for making budget expansion requests. The process does not guarantee requests will be approved. Budgeting is still, unfortunately, a zero-sum game. But we want to ensure the process is clear, transparent, and that the opportunity to participate is available to all university departments. So I will close by saying the work of developing and maintaining budgets is collaborative. My office can't do its work without you. I look forward to working with you to better understand the budgetary needs of your department. You can help the Budget Office help you by engaging in your budgets and thinking creatively about how to deploy the resources available to you. I also want to take a moment to recognize the analysts in the Budget Office that you will work with if you haven't already, Erica Covey and Kate Hayes. They have done truly outstanding work to implement these reforms and push progress in the Budget Office through what has been a bumpy period. Thank you, Kate and Erica. I don't know if you'd like to stand up and let folks see who you are. Thank you all for your partnership with the Budget Office, and we look forward to working with you.
Short person in the room. Thank you, Chancellor, for the invitation to give an update from Academic Affairs. I'm Yvonne Villanueva Russell, and I serve as the provost of UNC Asheville. If you haven't noticed, we've arrived at a new year, a new semester, after a very eventful fall semester in more ways than one. As you've lived and experienced it, you know that we made it through a natural disaster by ensuring the well-being and safety of our students. In Academic Affairs, We collaborated with every corner of campus to successfully complete an emergency pivot to online instruction in circumstances even more challenging than during COVID. We persevered because our commitment to serving students by surveys, texting, and even personally hand-delivering a laptop or a hotspot. We persevered because of our dedication to the quality of an instruction and the ability to fall back on the lessons that we learned from COVID 4 years ago. We persevered because of our collegiality, which in some cases amounted to gathering around Dr. Wasilewski's dining room table to strategize. We persevered because of our creativity in delivering online instruction through live video streams, through supplemental activities on campus, and through dedicated outreach to provide what students needed. We persevered because of our humility in asking for assistance from the UNC system and our peers. We persevered because of our innovation in providing shared co-work spaces for those still lacking technology, electricity, and connectivity. And most importantly, we persevered because of our compassion for our students, each other, and our communities. This is not just a shameless plug of gratitude. It kind of is, but it's more than that. We now have solid data that indicates we succeeded. Our fall to spring retention rate of 93% is simply phenomenal. And to show for it, we have over full classes, we have students on wait lists, and we have a campus that is eager to get back to work as normal. Now, we need to continue to leverage our strengths to bravely take on existing challenges that have been lying in wait and the new challenges that have yet to present themselves. There are 3 that I want to make explicit. The first is teaching online, which is a core competency that we need to have as faculty and as an institution. While we might be reticent to do so, being able to switch to remote or asynchronous instruction is a necessary skill, as we've witnessed our public schools that have needed to do so in light of last week and next week's snowstorm. We do not have the luxury to say that we don't teach online because I don't like it, because it isn't effective, or because it isn't who we are. We must be responsive and committed to staying abreast of trends in pedagogy and remaining committed to student-centeredness. We are capable, but at the present moment, we do not have the confidence or the scale and this capacity. We need to, we must, and I'm positive we will. Secondly, we will continue forward with innovative and exciting new curriculum. The core curriculum revisions are winding their way through Faculty Senate approval process. We will have a more streamlined set of general education requirements that are still soundly rooted in the liberal arts. A humanities option will be retained in the sequence for students who want to opt in for that value-added experience. And a new place-based first-year seminar and capstone will provide an on-ramp and off-ramp experience that is unique, allowing our students to find their place in our region and in the larger world by taking courses of passion designed by faculty that feature the best we have to offer: experiential learning, interdisciplinarity, coupled with opportunities to display, apply, and publicly communicate the knowledge, skills, and real-world relevance of their coursework to a larger audience. This new curriculum is an opportunity to proactively embrace positive change in ways that will attract and benefit new students. After all, we need to, we must, and I'm optimistic that we will. Finally, we'll also see a more dedicated focus to strategy, vision, and goal setting across all divisions, departments, and programs in academic affairs. We serve our students at a key transition point into adulthood, a time when they're discovering themselves, finding their place in the larger ecosystem, and taking their first autonomous steps in a brave new world. We only have 4 short years with them to mentor and grow. We teach them concrete skills, but hopefully empower them with enduring skills that equip them with a mindset to last a lifetime, with critical thinking, problem solving, curiosity, and leadership. These abilities and dispositions will guide them to be nimble and agile, as they are likely to have between 11 and 15 jobs or 3 to 5 careers over the course of their lifetime. As we expect for our students, we ourselves need to continue to push, grow, and learn. We must also display curiosity, a thirst for new knowledge, and ability to be agile to the rapidly changing world around us. We need to. We must, and I'm optimistic that we will. We've done a great job of pivoting in an emergency, but there is still work that needs to be done. We must guard against inaction, or worse yet, indifference. But we're capable of powerful things. We've pulled together in an emergency, and we have continually demonstrated resilience by doing a lot with a little. In academic affairs, we are taking the first bold steps to work in a way that is responsive by leveraging our internal strengths, aligning with our regional opportunities, and confidently answering our external challenges. I'm excited to work with you as we design new opportunities for ourselves and our students in ways that propel us forward for maximum impact upon our region and our state. Thank you, and best wishes for a productive semester and a new year.
Thank you to all three of you. That's just a great group of people that are doing great things. I said at the outset that the most important thing we have to do now is to consider what we are learning as we work through all of these different challenges. The most difficult thing that we've learned in the past 2 years is that despite the incremental progress that we've been making, our fundamental model is not working. We've done much work to improve processes, streamline budgets, review and discontinue high-cost and low-performing programs. But we are not going to be successful if we continue along the same course of tacking here and there to make incremental progress. We must increase our value proposition, and we must do it now. This is a problem across higher education in general, with skepticism about the value of a college degree at its highest level ever. But that's not an excuse. That is a call to action. A 4-year college degree has been seen by many, especially by those of us within higher ed, and I am guilty as well, as a symbol, a marker of something that in and of itself has meaning and value. But the days where a degree was an automatic key to a successful job or career, those are long gone, even if they ever existed. Gone is the time when we should be saying to students, you must do this and this and this, and then you'll get a degree. It's time to say, here are the things we can help you master and accomplish so that you will be successful in the next phase of your life. And we have to take a look at what those things are too. We must set a new course. I've spent a lot of time reading survey responses, talking with people inside and outside the university, looking at what other universities are doing, consulting with my trustees. Thank you, Vice Chair Heckman, for being here today. We've held visioning sessions, scanned economic development trends, talked with business and professional leaders, and a picture is emerging. Number one, we must retain our fundamental liberal arts approach and foundation. Absolutely. We must continue to cultivate the understanding of what it is to be human and to live and work in the world. And two, we must situate that understanding clearly facing the future. We need to create liberal arts 3.0 or 2030 or 2050. We'll land on that soon. And what will that look like? We can pursue a bold new model calibrated to the rapidly changing demands of today and tomorrow, helping students develop deep traditional skills in critical analysis, communication, historical understanding, and teamwork that are then applied directly to the issues, problems, and opportunities of the 21st century. I knew that was going to happen. From environmental resilience to civic engagement, healthcare, artificial intelligence, natural sciences, outer space, digital humanities, gaming, virtual reality, data science, musical technology, studio arts, finance. There's so much that we have to offer here. And it needs to be all at the forefront of the latest innovations, grounded in the knowledge of their histories and contexts, to develop the curiosity and flexibility that will enable our graduates to flourish across the entire span of their personal and professional lives. At its best, a liberal arts education equips students to act, to adapt, and to learn. I was just sitting with Chancellor Emeritus Dave Brown this morning, and he likened it to the ability, and I'm looking at you, Toby, of a banjo player to sit down at the piano. The ability, like those in languages, like those of us in languages know, one very important byproduct of studying a language is learning how to learn a language. Less about your ability to speak the language, very difficult to do in the classroom, but it teaches you how to approach learning and speaking other languages. Learning and mastering a data visualization tool teaches students to learn and master other tools and promote that learning, constant flexibility. Built upon this strong applied liberal arts foundation, our programs can prepare students to understand, master, and shape the technologies that increasingly define and inform every discipline and career path, no matter how traditional that path. Like it or not, the world awaiting our students is being deeply changed through innovations that seem to crop up almost daily. And while our students seem to be plugged in, I am not convinced that they are. And I'm not talking about vocational training in certain software programs, but deep engagement with technologies, understanding how to master new ones, gauge their impact, and make wise choices about their use. This is what our students will be asked to do, no matter what their path. Our graduates need to be able to work adeptly and critically in data analysis, digital innovation, and advanced communication in each of our academic programs. We can prepare them not just for today's careers, but for those that are yet to come. All of our students will participate in hands-on experiences shaped by challenges and opportunities here in Western North Carolina and beyond, from internships to undergraduate research, study abroad, athletics, community engagement projects that provide critical advantages to their career and life paths. Each student should have close mentoring relationships with faculty, peers, alumni, and community leaders. Relationships are key, and our students have an exceptional opportunity because of our size to develop and learn from them. We will offer a unique value proposition there for students and employers in the region and across the state. And we will help rebuild and reshape the economy of the region by actively seeking those areas of growth and feeding new opportunities for new industries and new areas. How will we get there? This is largely up to you. To that end, I'm going to be forming several working groups in the coming weeks to begin exploration, to invite you to bring all of your creative ideas, your expertise, your doubts, your naysaying to bear. Group 1, technology integration. How can we infuse our curriculum and our student experience using technology, with technology? We already do this. We have some tremendous examples of success that can be scaled or expanded. Look at the STEAM studio, computer science, art, engineering, music, ancient Mediterranean studies. They're all working in that space. And when I say technology, please use your own definition of that. It's a large definition, right? New media. That's essentially what new media does. It's work on those boundaries. The data visualization work that's going on in mathematics. It's amazing. Everything that NEMAC does how to engage technologies to extract and understand data about the environment. How could history students work with virtual reality tools? How could English students dig into artificial intelligence as ways of learning about stylistics and rhetorical devices? Bucket 2, career and leadership development. How can we infuse this throughout a student's career, the entire experience, from the day they step onto campus for new student orientation until well beyond graduation? Yes, again. How do we expand and improve our pre-health professions programs? That is a tremendous opportunity for us. What innovations can the Career Center bring to the table? What kinds of formal and informal mentoring opportunities can we create? We need to look to athletics and their wildly successful Leaders for Leaders program. It is amazing. We need to figure out how to scale that. And how could Ollie help us in that respect? How do we bring experts and industry partners to the table, to the classroom, to those kitchen table discussions that we're having? How do we expand leadership and entrepreneurial skills and develop and build out our business programs for all of our students? 3, future forward curricular innovations. This is tied to number 1, but what new directions can we take? How do we inform those directions? Who do we need to have at the table? How could these innovations help with rebuilding the region? And who are the partners out there that we need? I talk weekly to someone who says, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? There are people out there who want our partnerships, want our help, and have some good ideas and some kind of crazy ideas, but they're out there and they can help us. These groups will join existing efforts in other areas. We have to look at everything. We've been working really hard on doing this in finance. Everything that we do is under scrutiny. Human resources is doing the same thing. And we have to look at campus infrastructure. We are actively evaluating our property and exploring how we might leverage it to benefit the university. You should know, and we'll have more on this tomorrow, that we are conducting some very careful assessments of species, natural resources, and archaeological impacts on the millennial properties for this campus. And we will have more information for you soon. No specific plans have been approved, but the parameters are in place. Any projects must increase the desirability and profile of the campus. It must improve the student experience. It must have benefit to the community, and it must help advance the region. More concrete plans will be shared as they are developing. We've been patching the ship for a while now, and it's now time to refit her. So I'm not going to push the ship metaphor anymore, but we're going into dry dock, guys. We're going into dry dock. While institutions of higher education are not designed for rapid change, we must now be committed to boldly embrace and engage with the future and its continually changing expectations and demands. We must start now, and we must not be hampered or discouraged by tradition, cultural norms, or holding on to something that is no longer viable. We must stop, in the words of my grandmother, we must stop clutching our pearls and step boldly into the future. Innovative, creative, edgy, and future-facing, our community can build strong, resilient leaders prepared to engage with all of the demands that lie ahead. And I invite you all to join us in that journey. Now, let's go and celebrate one of our other great successes, coming together to enjoy some food and each other's company, spend time with students who are probably already there partying, eat some good food, and cheer on the men's basketball team. Thank you all for coming today. Have a wonderful semester, and let's go.